Peter Winick is the founder and CEO of Thought Leadership Leverage. For the past 2 decades, he's helped individuals and organizations build and grow revenue streams through designing and growing their thought leadership platforms, as well as acting as a guide and advisor for increasing business to business sales of thought leadership products. Peter and I are recent acquaintances, but we share an awful lot of the same friends, which is pretty cool. Peter, how's it going?
Yep, it's going great, all things considered.
Well, we have to wait for the gentleman with the lawnmower. There he goes. Okay. Um, you have like this community, this collection of people around you who, many of them I've worked with before, but they would, who we would be perceived as, defined as in kind of older school terms as being true thought leaders,
hmm
authors, consultants, experts. I think the motto
hmm
of your website is you have deep expertise in helping people with deep expertise, which is awesome on t-shirts. Way to go.
Exactly.
How are these traditional thought leaders, consultants, keynoters, whatever? How are they changing their strategies, their go-to-market strategies during this moment of high flux? All these things going on.
Yeah, so I think there's two big issues, two variables that they have to deal with simultaneously. Number one is the content. So if you think about where were we in February, right? What was the content that was in vogue, if you will, which is sort of representative of the market in general? It was things like war for talent, things like the employee experience, things like mindfulness at work, and others, and traditional leadership management, whatever. This is not a resume situation. So I don't believe, nor have I seen in the market, that when this is over, whatever over means, we just go back and click the resume button on Netflix
Exactly.
and here we go. This is
Exactly.
reboot, reinvent. So the first thing they need to evaluate is, and they are evaluating, is wait, was my content in the, as poignant, as relevant, uh, is it as relevant today as it was just a couple of months ago?
Right.
And if not, what do I need to do about it? Because it doesn't necessarily mean you need to throw it out and start from scratch. It might be repositioned. It might need to be more focused, and you might have to not bury the headline of the impact and the ROI. That's the
Sure.
first thing. The second thing is the modality and the format. So given that face to face is not happening for probably most of 2020, and it will be reduced significantly in 2021, and then who knows, once you start doing things differently, what that's going to look like. If you're really, really good at a modality that's really, really not in demand, that, that's not good, right? So if you're
Yeah.
a keynoter, how do you reinvent? If you're
Sure.
doing a lot of face-to-face workshops, how do you reinvent? So I think it's the combination of making sure your content is on point, and that the modalities by which you have to serve it are the ones that are in demand. You can't just sit back and wait and say, oh, eventually keynotes will come back. Yeah, they will, but
Yeah, no, it's all different now, and you invited me to just a wonderful roundtable, like community discussion the other day, and it was just great. People were terrific. I'm wondering, this was your idea, your concept of putting this you know group of people together, but open invitation. What's the changing role of that type of thing? That sort of community of practice, right now.
yeah, so I think it's evolving, but I think, when this first happened, I knew two things. I knew we had a premium Zoom account, big deal, and I knew we had a pretty good network.
Check. Right.
So I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I'm like, okay, Zoom account, good network, what
Right.
the heck?
Right.
So we put it out there, and we literally did, like, the first week of lockdown, 3 of them in a week, and just
Hmm.
said, hey, everybody's calling us, everybody's freaking out. I don't have all the answers, but
Right.
whatever. And it got, fairly good turnout. I mean, I don't really care about the numbers, but we've got a nice community of about 30, 40 people that
Sure.
consistently show up. We've cut it back to once a week because whatever. And it's been really, really cool. So I think that the bigger answer to your question is, why were people going to all these events and doing all these things? And
Hmm.
part of it is the content, but the other part is community. And being a thought leader, being an author, being a speaker, quite frankly, is a really lonely business. And you were getting sort of your people high by being out in the market every day and jumping
Hmm.
on planes and being in Denver on Tuesday and Phoenix on Thursday. There's a hunger for that.
Well,
And I think particularly,
stand-up comedians talk about that type of thing, being on
yeah,
stage. You know what I mean?
yeah, my group isn't funny. No.
I thought they were great. No.
Well, some of them are funny. Some of us are funny. No, but I think there's just this need to say, if you're an accountant, you can talk to your accountant friends and say, "Ooh, wow, rough tax season, Fred." It's like they don't have a place to commiserate, to sort of
Right.
the virtual belly up to the bar and
Sure.
and all that. So I think it's been one, a sense of connection, and number two, which is really, really cool, it's evolving into all sort of cool collaboration.
Yeah.
So we'll see what comes out of that. But people are writing articles
Yeah.
together and figuring out how to work together and just, whatever. It's
That's
one big experiment.
No, it
Yeah.
was terrific, and thanks for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Just as a final question, the question I ask everybody, Peter, which is what lessons have we learned that we must not forget?
Yeah, well, I think there's so many. So when I think about, let's take two things that really got jammed down our throats from a COVID perspective. Number one, work from home, right? And then number two, distance learning. None of these are new concepts. Zero, none, right? So we've been the work from home revolution, evolution concept I think there are articles starting on that in the
Yeah,
80s,
long time ago.
right? And I don't know if it was Tom Peters or Drucker, but this is not new,
Yeah.
right? And then e-learning's been going on for 20 plus years. So
Yeah.
to me, the lesson is, planning is good, and you can think these things through and plan these things through. But the reality is, we sort of got thrown in the pool, if you will. And guess what? I don't know anyone that drowned.
Yeah.
People figured it out. People figured out how to work from home. I mean, for us, we're virtual to start with. They figured it out, and for some it's good, for some it's bad, for some it's everything in between. And then the distance learning piece, it forces content creators and thought leaders and authors to say, if I'm delivering in a medium that I haven't before, what are the outcomes I want?
Mm-hmm.
What are the constraints that this format gives me? And what are the new bells and whistles and tools that it also gives me? Because it's not all negative, right? You can put people in breakout rooms. You can do this. You can record and watch later. So I think it's been the accelerant of some good things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are two that stick out to my mind that we will look back in a couple of years and say, wow, remember before that when we went to the office every day?
Yeah.
And remember before that when the only time we did a learning event was a 2-day face-to-face?
Right.
That's what I'm seeing.
That's cool. Hey, listen, thanks for taking the time out. I know you're busy. We'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thanks for having me.